So again, thank you all for joining us for Esports and Beyond, the Collegiate Esports edition, I'll call it, or of the series. So thank you so much. We have such a great panel for you today. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys all have to say. So I'm really excited. So let's get started. Eric from Butler, would you mind starting the introductions?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you for having us represented on here. I know myself and fellow Big East partner here with Courtney, we love having that representation out east. So thank you so much. I'm Eric K Meyer. I oversee the program here at Butler Esports. We are located in Indianapolis. For those of you maybe not familiar with Butler, currently my role is overseeing our three pillars of our esports program. So it's threefold. One you're talking about today and is along the competition side. And so focusing on our different teams at different levels, whether it's at our club level or what we consider our sponsored varsity programs. Adding to that in the future, and why I say today, on the competition level we're building out a facility space that is going to be externally focused to allow for more community integration. Our current facility is in a basement of our union, as many of people in esports typically see. And so this is going to be more intentional for delivering a cross section of educational technology and esports, and how can we be a stronger partner in placemaking here in Indianapolis and be a better end-to-end pipeline from youth to collegiate to careers afterwards. So that's a little bit on the competition side and kind of hits our other C, which is community, and how we're going to work with community partners. Our new facility space also is going to bring in some community tenants. So we'll actually have businesses working alongside our players and our faculty in a number of ways. And so again, fostering that innovation and excitement with our students, as well as some community businesses. And then the third being pretty much our most important, the curriculum aspect. So leveraging what we can do in our current curriculum, but adding to new degree opportunities on our campus. And so that's kind of the main focus. It's very broad, but it is intentional in a multifaceted way with esports.
So that was competition today, competition tomorrow, and community. Those are your three pillars.
So 3 C's: curriculum, competition, and community. Yeah.
Oh, curriculum. Great, awesome, thank you. And I think we'll go with your Big East partner, Courtney.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney James. I use she, her, and her pronouns. I serve as the Director of Student Involvement in Esports at DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois. As Eric mentioned, we are a proud member of the Big East Conference. So we compete big picture in Rocket League and League of Legends as a conference, and then have a number of other collaborative touch points that we leverage our relationships with one another throughout the year. So a little bit about our program. We launched in January 2018. And are going strong. We've been at this for about 4 years now. Our model is a little bit different than some other institutions in that our program is open to everyone. We actually have 1,300 annual users of our space and 24 teams between our varsity, academy, and JV levels. So we compete in, I think we're at 10 different titles right now. Don't quote me on that, because I know we're looking to add a couple more. So, next week that number may be different for us. But similarly to Eric, I think what the three pillars, while ours aren't, as formally packaged as Eric's are as the 3 C's, those 3 values are 3 things that we are constantly talking about in the Big East overall. So how can we focus that competition, build community on our campuses? A number of us do different matches and experiences for our on-campus gamers that both tie directly to competitive things, to recreational components of esports, or that tie in academic curriculum as well. And then obviously with the goal of creating community. For us at DePaul, our goal is retention. Our entire esports program is designed to be a high impact retention tool. Of our 1,300 community members, about 10% of them are part of competitive teams. Our overall university retention rate is right around 80%. Our esports teams are at 95%. So we consider this a high impact practice at DePaul in terms of why we continue to do esports and why we continue to invest in it. So excited to be here. We, are diving in. We just got our first esports position approved at DePaul. It's actually a part-time esports coordinator. We don't yet have a program manager, which is why my title is Director of Student Involvement in Esports. So this is one of the many hats that I wear. We're looking to expand our team because we need to, but yeah, happy to be here today.
Thank you so much. I love what you said about retention, because I think that's one thing that we focus on in K-12 or the primary grades is the retention, keeping kids or getting kids to be in school, right? Increase attendance rates. And I think that that's one reason why we do develop these programs or sponsor these programs. Andrew Peterson.
Hi, Andrew Peterson. I'm the director for e-learning at Ferris State University. Kind of came around to esports through it almost seems like the typical path right now. It's the, hey, here's a geeky nerdy person and we need a faculty staff advisor. So this was back in 2016. We formed a League of Legends group. We had about 20 people and that's exploded up to, I think at last count, we have somewhere between 400 and 500 students in various things from like completely social and people that just want to hang out to like hyper competitive varsity with scholarships. We've got a couple coaches. We've got actually the most exciting thing we have right now is our Esports Arena. So we've got a $30 million building being built right over there. That the whole first floor is like esports production, e-learning, nice big arena. Like it's one of those things. It's hard not to just start talking about that for the rest of the session. So I'll try and keep that short. But we also have a professional esports productions 4-year degree that is currently just pending state approval. So it's gone all the way through the curriculum process, the Senate, the board, the president, every process that you can imagine up until the final state approval. And so I think in April, we can start admitting students. So super looking excited to that. And I think I'll leave it at that because otherwise I'm going to keep talking.
That's awesome. You should have taken this call from that center. Just saying.
There's like steel beams going in the ground right now. Like it's loud.
So it's not, okay, maybe not.
Right.
All right. Andrew, could you please introduce yourself?
All right, yeah, my name is Andrew No, super simple last name, but it's sometimes I get people that are confused from it. But I'm actually a student at University of New Haven in their Masters of Esports Business program, one of the first ones here in the States. I actually work in tangent with that at Esports Entertainment Group under GG Circuit, where we actually help a lot of schools, over 100 schools within the States here, Canada, overseas in like Finland, with like hardware requirements or software to help manage their space. And on top of that, I also work in a business called Gaming Insomniacs with a couple buddies for Capital Region and esports initiatives. So we work with a lot of high schools to run some of their programs or like tournaments or anything like that. And we actually ran a 16 high school tournament from schools from like Lake George all the way down to Bayshore, Long Island, that would come up to here in Schenectady to compete in our tournament. It was a Call of Duty tournament. We actually had 30 schools interested, but there was overwhelming interest from the students to do Call of Duty. So that's the one we went with. And because of Call of Duty, a lot of the schools dropped out, but we did have 16 continue with our tournament. And it was for a $5,000 scholarship too. So it was a really incredible event. But yeah, that's basically about me. I'm just a student. I do some things on the side, and I also work at Esports Entertainment Group.
Not just a student, you're like a valuable resource. That's a great connection. You're not just a student. Oh, that's awesome. And that scholarship, that I do want to hear about scholarship opportunities too, because I think I mentioned it today during my STEAM play date, and they were like, what, scholarships to college for esports? So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Robert, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Robert Haley from Medaille College, a small school in Buffalo, New York. And we are currently the only school in Western New York offering a degree in esports management. So it's kind of unique, and bringing people to our college for the first time, which is great. Like everyone said, this is like it's new for everyone, and giving our students the opportunity to take something new and interesting that they love and passionate about and turn into a career is what we're trying to do. So. Again, my players realize they're not going to be professional esports players, but they do love the sport and they do love the atmosphere and the industry. And so that's what we're trying to do. I have to laugh that our esports room is also in the basement of our student union. So I think you're absolutely right. It's it's a thing, but we were underground for real, like for a very long time. No one knew what esports were, and again, what is it, and how do you get scholarship for it? Great questions. And, so I'm pretty much running the show right now. I'm a coach and I am a teacher and also part-time tech repairer. So, keep busy and I love what I do. And during the day, I'm also teaching high school. And so, it keeps me busy, but at the same time, keeps me young. I think what's great about esports is it's generational and it cuts across generations and demographics, and I think it's great. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, Michelle, please.
Hi, my name is Michelle King, and I am a professor at William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. I've been there for a little over 23 years, and I love gaming, all types of gaming. I'm an OG gamer, which means analog board games. So that's where I started. I'm part of the International Society of Board Game Studies. I travel the world giving presentations about my research on that. And so I always brought play into the classroom. And when my students, they were talking about board games, but also video games, I listened. We listened, the community listened, and we have more than 500 students in our esports community. So it's growing exponentially. We just launched 2 years ago. So we're brand new to the scene with the esports program. And like many of the other colleges and universities, we have pillars, and ours is the academic and applied esports program with a foundation of wellness and community. So the academic side, we're building out a minor in esports with 3 tracks that students can take. The applied side is the competitive side. And just last year, we had our tryouts of 163 students tried out, and we had 63 make it to the varsity title rosters. And we have 8 titles that we compete in. And then the wellness side, we work very closely with our wellness center and building community. And I'm huge on experiential learning. And so what we've been able to do is we have 8 paid student positions, and they work with me closely. They can also get college credit in the meantime with independent studies. And we have students who don't know necessarily much about esports, but they take, whether it's data analytics, if it's psychology, whatever it is, and we put an esports lens on it. And then how can we develop this ecosystem, this landscape that's out there? And so we're really big on experiential learning and getting the hands-on, because it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to do it. So we're trying to build that out as well. So thank you for having us here.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I mean, I think we could be done. No, this is amazing. You guys are doing such great work, and I love to hear the experiential piece of it. And starting from board games, I've pitched that also here in our region. Like, let's start K6 with just board games, right? That's our like elementary esports team, and then we go into middle school and high school. But thank you very much. I'd love to hear, I guess, I don't even know where to go, because there's so many places to go. What about, let's talk about the academic piece of it, right? Like, let's talk about what your program offers that you think is unique.
So I'll just jump in there because that's something that's top of mind for me right now. esports is so many different things. Like, so we've hooked in event management, sports communication, PR, psychology, game design, TV, digital media production. I think that's it. I'm probably missing one or two, and since it's being recorded, someone's going to remind me, and then I'm going to get in trouble. But it's one of those things. It's all things that we're already doing, and then we're like, this is just the new way to inspire people. So it's really kind of using this lens of esports as the catalyst of like student engagement. And all of a sudden they're like, we've had students that like don't want to do speech. Like public speaking is like super terrifying, but all of a sudden put them on Twitch and there's a 45-minute persuasive speech on why Garen is the best thing in League of Legends. And you're like, you don't like speech though. They're like, yeah, but that's Garen. And you're like, okay, good. Now the real trick is getting the speech person to listen to the Twitch and do the assessment from the public speaking in that lens. And so we're having a lot of fun with that. But it's, I don't want to say it's simple because I'm sure everyone here can agree we've put in a lot of work on different things and a lot of paperwork and maybe some red tape in there too, that we've really kind of had to battle, but the foundation is there.
Yeah, to piggyback a little bit off of what Andrew's saying, like how many people do you know that work in the sport industry that didn't get sport majors, right? Like they got majors in communication, they got majors in this, they got majors in that. Like, and this as a field and as an industry is expanding so fast and so quickly. You know, we at DePaul are pretty fortunate. We have a phenomenal game design program. We have a spectacular College of Computing and Digital Media that they are already learning the skill sets. I think that this is that co-curricular real world experience that now, you know, now they're going and learning in this environment that they care about and that they want to work in. One of the most fascinating statistics that I have ever heard about esports, I heard like 4 years ago, and it still sticks with me. I'd be curious if they actually have updated the data. But 4 years ago, there was a study done about how many students who are involved in esports and gaming are involved in other things on their campuses. And what they found was that 47% of students who are involved in esports and gaming aren't doing anything else on campus. They're not studying abroad. They don't have campus jobs. They're not in your student organizations. They're not doing anything. They're gaming. So now we ran that same study at DePaul, and we found that we were right on par, right? We were at 48%, so minimal difference, right? So now though, we have this place and this opportunity where we can engage. For us at DePaul, our 1,300 students, that's 750 students who are now connecting and engaging because of esports. So when you talk about the curricular and co-curricular connection, it is this real place that they are going to, because again, they weren't doing anything else, right? Like this is this new environment. Us at DePaul, we've had a really unique opportunity this past year. I mentioned briefly that we have a esports recruiter position for the first time. And I know, Kelly, I think you said that you were going to ask us about scholarships. But one of the things that we're launching right now, we have our first scholarship opportunity that's about to unfold, but it's not about majors. It's not about majors. It's also not talent-based. We're offering 10 freshman esports ambassador scholarships that are going to come in and join a cohort-based model we're on a quarter system as well. In fall quarter, they're going to do an esports specific freshman seminar class. Ours is called Discover or Explore Chicago. So it's going to be esports themed in the fall. They're going to have other seminar requirements so that they can explore all of these different parts of the industry in the College of Communication, College of Business, CDM, all of these different colleges. And then they're going to round out their experience with we have another program called D Sports, which is our high school curriculum program that is managed by our some DePaul faculty members. But there's a class that these students go in, serve as coaches and mentors to kids in Chicago public schools. So in spring quarter, they're going to do that course as well. So now it's this rounding out of their experience that, you know, maybe you will get a game design major, maybe you will get a business major with the intention of going into esports, but we are setting ourselves up as an institution to show you that, like, if you want to come here and you want to do this similar to sport, you can come here, right? And we will be the place that will be your in-classroom learning and your co-curricular learning. That's not to say, you know, we may have a faculty member down the road who wants to do a major or a minor. But right now, 50% of our students who are in our program are all out of our College of Computing and Digital Media. So we're really leaning into creating those co-curricular experiences and spaces when we can.
And I would like to chime into with what Andrew and Courtney were saying. Andrew, I teach public speaking. That's what I teach. So when you said that, I was like, right on par. And when the students are passionate about a topic or a subject, that's going to come through. That's the opportunity to strike and give them that foundation of how do you put together a speech? How do you deliver the content, the organization? So all of this, again, goes back to experiential learning, that opportunity. We've created positions for students called EPs, Esports Pioneers. And so for one semester, they take college credit and they explore their area of interest. We have someone who is into data analytics, another one into wellness, majoring in psychology, another one in business. And so what I do is I have them shadow me or come with me, and I let them run the business meetings. I let them talk to these people that one learned how to write a proposal for a sponsorship, and he got it approved. And that was his little feather in his cap that, yes, we did this. And so getting that experience with it is huge. It's huge. And this summer, we are putting together a STEM and SCRIM esports camp for rising 8th graders and seniors in high school. So everyone listening, this is a great opportunity. There are a few seats, so make sure you check your schedules with that. And I think, Kelly, you have that link there. And so STEM, in the morning, you're going to have interaction with world-renowned faculty from computational problem solving, communication, leadership skills. And then in the afternoon, you get to scrim. You can scrimmage against some of our varsity players as well. So it's a great opportunity during the summer, but esports is truly interdisciplinary. When you look at it, you could go into the arts and sciences, the business school, the school of education, and even the law school. At Women Mayor, we have a law school, and there's an esports bar association out there. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So now is the time, and I tell all parents, faculty, teachers, admin, support these students. This is the opportunity. This is the future, and there's enough room at the esports table for everyone.
Andrew, no, what do you love about, I was just going to ask you, what do you love about your program? As a student who's in a program, what do you love about it? What gets you excited?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons why I looked at University of New Haven was the professors, really. So they really pulled in professors that are in the industry, like Kevin Naki. He's from Rect Global. We got Damon Scotulus, which is from Icon Agency, which manages all the talent for TSM, and we had Jonathan Stringfield running our marketing class from Activision Blizzard. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go to University of New Haven, because they brought in industry professionals. And then I kind of wanted to go back to what Courtney was saying about like those statistics that she was putting down about how students were only or majority of students were kind of just gaming. I was thinking about that about myself, and I was like, yeah, all I do really is go to class, and then I game, and then it's basically my day. And I'm like, I should really do something else. And then going back to what Michelle said too about the esports lens, I think that's really unique for this industry, because you don't specifically need to have a esports degree. Like a lot of sports management majors can go into this degree as well. I actually have a buddy that worked for the Brooklyn Nets, and he was like doing partnerships and ticket sales and everything like that. And he got promoted to business analyst, and for the NBA league, but he also works now for the NBA 2K league as well. So a lot of those kind of what he's learned there can be transferred over to esports. And a little bit more what Michelle was saying, that I think that would work well with that program, is that not only kind of like getting those experiences outside of esports, but you can also look at like programs that TSM has, like TSMU. They have a lot of opportunities for students to do some kind of mentorship with a lot of people that work for TSM, or with whoever partnerships that they have. TSM is good. Another one's Team Liquid. They do a lot of mentorships and internships as well. So kind of having that aspect to what Michelle is doing as well, I think together would be really great for students.
Andrew, is a perfect segue to what I was going to add to from the Butler side of things is a lot of the same framework on the curricular side, multifaceted, while still finding a home, right? And so our College of Communications was the perfect. We already had faculty already writing textbooks in this space and doing some research, and so the production element that we plan on blowing up very much so in our new space is a huge component of what we're tying into the curriculum. And you know, being able to relocate NBA 2K here to Indianapolis has been a true blessing, along with our community partners. And so we're trying to do exactly with what Andrew was saying, is creating these partnerships with internships. Our College of Communications requires 2 internships before graduation. Well, not only working for our program, but then these other professional or esports organizations that are going to be one housed in our facility, but also right in our back doorstep here in Indianapolis. And so we truly believe that's a huge element of their experience, is that real life, real business experience, right, on set. So we're excited to have these opportunities here locally, but also on campus within our facility for activation too. So thank you for hitting on that, Andrew.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta, Andrew, something you said is like sitting with me, because I think it's something that we have to change within the industry. But you like shared your perspective about, like, you were like, oh, all I'm doing is going to class and gaming and I got to do something else. And I think, you know, that's something that we have to look at in the field, and like something we have to pivot and change, because we don't ask our, you know, traditional sport athletes to do something other than sport, right? Like, we're not asking like our fraternity and sorority life leaders to take on more things outside of their chapter leadership. And like, even, you know, for me 4 years ago, when we started at this at DePaul, everybody was like, oh, we could get these students to do this. We could get them to do this. And, you know, what Eric is articulating as an integration and in a winding things into the experience is very different than taking students and forcing them into another place. Because I think that's one of the, you know, frequent mistakes we see in this industry, in like the college market, is people come in and say, we're going to, and I did this too, I self-admittedly did it, right? We're going to force our gamers into this environment, or we're going to force them into this training or this space or this box. And this community has very different needs, and these students have very different needs too. So I think it's, you know, the programs that are truly successful, and you know, some of the people on the panel here, they're thriving because they're catering to the students and the student experience there. It's not forcing into other systems and strategies. It does require a little bit of work and strategy to come up with a integrated approach that is not forcing gamers into other systems. Like, we've had to change, and you know, we are adapting, I think, year after year. Like, we are changing what it is and what we're doing in order to meet the needs of these students. And it's working, right? Like, I mean, shoot, we have a 95% retention rate, so something's working for us, right? So I feel like I have to say that, because people constantly say, like, we've got to get them to do other things. No, we don't. Like, we don't do that for so many other populations. Like, let's cater to the specific needs we have here, like what Michelle's talking about with like health and safety and like health and wellness. We should be integrating that into the esports experience instead of forcing people into other ones. So thanks for coming to my soapbox. I'll get off it because I think somebody else probably has something to say.
One of my fun stories that's kind of related to that. So our first round of students, you know, we buy jerseys for them, and we're like, okay, everybody's got to come to the library and we're going to hand them out. And so they all show up. And it is the most social awkward. Everyone's just kind of standing there quiet, you know, nobody's talking. And as soon as someone says something, they recognize the voice. They have been on the conversation so many times. They've spent hundreds of hours together, but they don't know what each other look like. And so that, like, they were just sitting there and they're like, I don't want to be social. This terrifies me. No, please no. But as soon as they learned each other's gamer names, they were like best friends, because they had so many hundreds of hours spent with each other that you just needed to be like oh, that's you. Oh, okay, now we're friends. And to try and force that into some other traditional like community outreach goal or something like that would just be criminal.
Well, and as an administrator, it took me a little while to like be okay with calling people like Tangerine and Matt Beach and Reaper, but you got to do it. Like you need to learn, I know Joel is Reaper, right? Because like I know in my tracking data how I have to track Joel's information, but in like, it's almost like I have to like switch to like, so that they know, I know what you're doing, right? Like, and it's just because I myself would not consider myself like a gamer. I do play games on my phone, so by nature, but I'm not very good at Rocket League. I didn't know that you could die in Minecraft until I died like 10 times when our Minecraft community was trying to show me what to do. But like those things matter, right? Like you need to be able to have that, know that language and know the lingo, because otherwise they will not buy into you at all.
And names matter. Names matter.
Yes.
People, they have a name. And so I'm going to show you real quickly. This is my living room right here. And I have their gamer tags. So exactly, Courtney, because when I see them on campus, I'm like, oh, rival. Oh, okay. Or whatever it is. It's so it's a community. It's a family. And that's a name. That's what they go by. And we have our coaches, again, they're paid positions, but it's building that community where they have to have at least 2 socials with other titles. So they're just not lost online, and they get together and they do stuff and they get to learn, and the voices match. Oh, you are somebody in that sense. But yeah, learning those names, that's fun.
Has anyone else ever had to have that awkward conversation with a student where they have to have them change their gamer name or filter it? That's always a fun one.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of conversations around gamer names about like, let's talk about why you're choosing to use that image for your Discord name or like for your, I'm failing like the actual, or like, let's talk about like how, and branding is so big, right? Like we finally, we went through this whole process at our institution, because the other part in all of this too is like, it's not like these communities don't exist. They all exist on every campus, and they're very strong. So now the other shift that you have to make is getting them to give your institution the credit for organizing, right? So like our Smash Club, for example, they're called D Smash. They have existed for I think around 6 years, which they existed before our program was finalized, right? But now, as an administrator, I want their data. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know how I can integrate other students. So like now we've also got to build this relationship of like, hey, I know you've been doing this. I know you've been carrying CRTs into the student center for like years, but oh, by the way, like I need you to like become part of our program, right? Like, and I need you to like integrate with our community. And like, I think that's part of like this, this shared identity that we have to figure out too. So it's about names, it's about images. It's also about like, how are you willing to, like, how can we work together so that, your D Smash group, when they graduate, I want them to attribute that experience back to DePaul University on the whole. It's very important that they have friends in D Smash, but like, when they're making the money that I know that they're going to be making from being a CDM major at DePaul, I want them to donate back to our program. And it's not necessarily D-Smash, right? Like I want them to donate back to the big university. So I think that's the other interesting navigation in this and the student experience is like, I want them to identify as a D-Smash member, but I more importantly want them to identify as a DePaul Blue Demon because I know the intrinsic value in that too. So that's been an interesting process to navigate with all of them too.
You mentioned building relationships and so what I love for our audience to hear is how do you reach those high schoolers? How do you attract them to your program? What's your pipeline? Is it Discord? Is it events? What is that pipeline for you?
I would like to jump in on that real quick. My son just graduated high school. And so when he would come home from lacrosse practice, I would make him take a shower, first of all, take a shower. And then I would say, all right, you've got to do 2 hours of homework, gaming homework. I wanted him to game. I wanted him to do this. And he was recruited to play lacrosse and he's off in college now, but he called me one day and he's like, Mom, I'm a 3-student athlete. And I'm like, yay, what does that mean? And he said, well, I play lacrosse. And I went ahead and tried out and I walked on to their Rocket League and Valorant team. I'm like, yes, I'm now proud of you. No, just kidding. But the gaming, that aspect is good. So how do you reach high school students? What is it that's going to attract them? And the beauty again about esports and all of, I will call you my colleagues here on the screen, that you know, find a school that fits you. William and Mary is not going to fit everybody, and that's okay. So you find a school that fits you, but look at their program, really assess their program. And then if the culture matches and that's what you're looking for and they have the programs you want, great. What we've done is we've reached out to our local high schools. Again, going back to the experiential learning, that's the teacher in me too. It's opportunity. And so I had a couple of high school students, they were really into League of Legends. And I said, do you want to cast? Like, no. And they had imposter syndrome. No, I don't. I said, just get in there, just see what happens. And they got in there and they went ahead and cast and streamed for the whole semester. And then when we had our grand opening of our esports training and research center, I invited them, they got a jersey and the League of Legends team was there and they just embraced them. So you just bringing them into different events that you have, tournaments, an opportunity to cast. I would love to hear from the audience if what would you be looking for to get that pipeline into a local college or university? And to hear what everyone else is doing too, because we can collaborate and work together and just make it a wonderful community.
Yeah, it's been rather interesting over the last 2 years, right? To get in front of students on a personal basis. Obviously, a lot of these type of collaborations and panels and discussions, and those are definitely successful in being able to get eyeballs and be able to talk about our program. But I think we really want to get back more into that person-to-person experience. I know as a Big East conference, we're wanting to get back to our conference competition. We're trying to look from an EGF standpoint to be able to, again, embed with more of the high school championships. So where we can foster that. Many of us have state Indiana or state associations. Ours in Indiana is part of an Indiana Esports Network, not part of our state regular, like traditional competition side of things. And I know there's a bunch of those here in the Midwest are in that same factor. And so it does make it a little bit more complex. However, we have great leadership in that where they're fostering competition from all over the state. And, you know, I think as that continues to build organically, that we now have the ability as they build LAN tournaments and whatnot to now start getting in front of them, much like traditional sports. And so that's another mechanism for what we're looking at with our facility space is how do we foster that not only from a collegiate scene, but now from high school activations here in the community, whether it's local Indianapolis community or across the state to be able to compete. Hinkle Fieldhouse, our basketball venue, was originally created for that purpose, to host basketball state championships and competitions. And so we're trying to use our facility as a kind of a mechanism much like that so that we can talk about educational opportunities, whether Butler is it or if it's a two-year institution or what have you, but also telling them about career paths that are tied to esports and gaming as well.
Well, and you know, Kelly, I think to your question of like, what are we doing? It's like anything and really all of the above, right? I don't think that anybody has figured out the secret sauce for connecting with students on a regular and like the exact, here's what you do every single time. But the one thing I will say, you know, is like content creation is king here. And like, it amazes me, our YouTube channel, some of the videos we have, I was like on it the other day and one of them has 4,500 views. Who is watching our, I know, like, honestly, I was like, who is doing that? Who is watching this? Like, I don't even know. Like, I need to be better at Google Analytics, obviously, so I can figure out who that is. But like, that is the other thing with reaching high school students that is so different. Me as a, 30-something-year-old white woman is not going to connect with an 18-year-old male gamer in any sort of like meaningful, significant way. But what we know about Gen Z is they value creativity and they value customized outreach, right? So thinking about how can we leverage our students, particularly through content creation, to meet the needs of Gen Zers, I think for us has been really, really successful. Like we have students doing podcasts and like all of the tournaments and everything else, but like they also just go and have discussions. And it's so easy for them to, go live on our Twitch at any given moment. Like the content creation side of this is, I think, a whole new avenue for outreach. And it's one that, like, our relationship with our enrollment management division has become a lot better, because they're like, so what are you doing? You sent somebody a $3 esports flag and they produced how much content for DePaul? Like, I mean, literally, that's what's happening. Like, I have a student, her name's Cherry Comfort. She just graduated, but she was a JV Valorant team that had 100 streamed hours with the DePaul esports flag behind her last year. You know, like, this is all, they are walking billboards for us right now. And, you know, if you're not tapping into that, like, figure out how you can use those students to help you tell a story and connect with peers, friends, high school students, everyone.
Andrew,
Yeah, if
could
I
you
can chime
share
in.
a little? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Robert.
No, I think what Courtney is hitting on is absolutely right. Social media and Twitch, especially, and Discord, are just enormous ways of making connections, like locally, nationally, internationally. Again, this is what kids watch. Kids don't watch TV anymore. Kids don't even like watch YouTube very often, but they will go and watch Twitch. They will go on Discord. They will go on YouTube to watch video gamers. And that's where you got to go, right? Parents don't realize it because they're not watching that stuff. But I think the more outreach we can do, via social media, to get parents' attention, to get them to go to Twitch to watch a little bit, the better off we are. Because the kids know it, the parents don't. And so I think the bridge there is harder to get to than like college to high school, because the high school kids, if they are interested in esports, they'll reach out to the colleges or the places with esports because they know it and they want it. It's more getting the parents on board, because when a kid says, I want to go to college for esports, then the parents are like, yeah, I'm not spending $30,000 for you to go get a degree in video gaming, because they don't understand it. And so I think it's the harder part is getting parents to understand what we do and what gamers do and what the esports industry is, and making comparisons to the NFL, to Major League Baseball, just as a sport and as an industry that's growing at a faster pace than any of those markets are, is huge. And so but yeah, Courtney, very much. Twitch, YouTube, awesome. Again, if you're not using it yet, definitely try to do that using whatever means possible. It's cheap. That's the thing about it. It's free. And colleges like that word. But it's true though, and the kids love it too, because it's that interactive, it's a creativity part that hits everybody. So thank you.
Even a traditional sports marketing degree is a hard bridge to sell too, and that's what my degree is in. And my parents were like, "Excuse me, what?" I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing." Yeah.
We had a little bit more of a traditional outreach, which was, so we got an internal grant for $15,000 from like marketing somebody, and we bought 12 laptops and a hub. And because we found a lot of these small institutions, like they've got a computer lab, and the person that runs that is like, you're not installing anything on my computers. And so there was very much an ownership and territory. So we're like, okay, we've got the laptops, we'll show up, give us an Ethernet plug, we're good to go. And it really shifted the conversation. And the other thing, you have to show up with Rocket League, maybe League of Legends. Anything else, like there might be a gun, oh, don't bring that into a school, that you're not going to have fun. There's going to be parents talking. And so nobody gets offended by soccers in cars. It's just not yet. I'm waiting to meet that parent. But it does. Makes it so you can walk in. There's no cost to the high school. They get to have a fun thing with their students. You get to give a little spiel about degrees and scholarships and kind of the brand of your institution. And it makes it very approachable.
And Eric had mentioned EGF. Several of us are part of Electronic Gaming Federation, which is the Division I governing body for esports programs. And they also have EGFH for high school. So it also shows them that it doesn't end with high school. There is another level and beyond.
So Andrew, no, you said that you sought out the school because of their faculty. Was there any like scholarship opportunities, or is that too new in the world of education?
I don't think it's too new. I was looking for some scholarship opportunities. That was like one of my biggest things when I was going through my undergrad. I missed out on so much. So I was trying to find some for my degree specifically, but there wasn't that many opportunities. I'm sure that there are some, I mean, there are definitely colleges that provide it to students, but for my specific degree, there wasn't, unfortunately. But kind of going back to some of the questions that you had, the question was before is that there are a lot of different leagues for high school kids to kind of participate in, and a lot of opportunities for recruitment. So not only that EGF or like, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure on like HSCL or Play VS or anything like that, but I'll just plug avgl.org. They had Intel Inspires, and they had, I think they had like hundreds of high schools compete in different multiple games. And they also had a lot of colleges there to do kind of like recruitment purposes. And they had like a different screen or platform for them to kind of get together, and the coaches can talk to the students and talk about recruitment opportunities. And I think at the time for that Intel Inspires, if any of the students got recruited, Intel Inspires like put down like another 1,000 for scholarship or something like that. I don't know if it changed. I think that was like 2 years ago, but I'm pretty sure they still do it. I thought that was a really cool opportunity. It was kind of like a esports combine for like high school students and colleges. So that's another one for high schools and colleges to kind of look at.
Can you put that one in the chat for us?
Yeah, sure.
That website. Yeah, thank you.
And Andrew touches on a good point about it's not new, but yet we're not seeing it as much as we should be. I know I'm still working on the admin part of, hey, let's put money behind this. And but the thing is, the students that we do have, the community, the esports community that we do have, and those who are involved. I had one EP, esports pioneer, and she was our media communication EP, and she did a lot of streaming, casting, and we had a last day of class fundraiser marathon. We had she streamed it, and we put Kai Hibbert is her name, and we had all these volunteers come in, and we had competitions that are the next person to score, they get to throw a pie in the face on somebody there. We had all these great pictures, or you had to eat these spicy jelly beans. And about 2 weeks after that, she contacted me. She said, I'm not going to be able to continue as an EP. And I said, okay, what is something happened? She's like, no, she was our Apex coach as well. She said, I was contacted to go and do some Apex broadcasting and streaming and announcing. And I said, this is wonderful. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I'm sad to see you go, but we're a stepping stone. That's what we are. We'll give you the opportunity, you build it, you build your brand, and go and do. And she ended up also winning a $10,000 Gen G scholarship. And yeah, I mean, just phenomenal students. The passion is there. They just need that opportunity.
I mean, I guess that's a great example. Like, how do they find these opportunities? I know you created that opportunity, but like, how do they find these opportunities as high school students, maybe wanting to break into it in a higher level, or even if they're not gamers specifically, or the shoutcasters or whatever? So how do they find those? Where do they find those opportunities? Where can you send them to find these opportunities?
Butler University. We are welcome.
That was a great answer.
I will tell you right now, like when it comes to recruiting, a lot of people get caught into the competition side, right? And I think everybody on this call will tell you there is so much more that's going on. And as we talk about trying to get support and resources for additional positions, when there is a student like Andrew, or Andrew coming out of high school that has just a passion for this space, the endless opportunities to take a leadership role and turn that into a career. Because right now we're going to be landing more positions that are going to be coming available. All the people on this call will be soon, if they aren't already in the works on that. And so it's a young field. I mean, Collegiate Esports 2014 really probably taking off right around then. And so I think the ability to be able to foster, folks that have a passion in this space that we can recruit on talent of ancillary components of esports. We have a number of internships that I'm talking about from Collegiate Communications, but even without that, we're going to be looking for folks assisting us with social, from production and from just the community activation and programming, working with some of these tournament operators coming in and helping facilitate some of these events. So the opportunities are endless. when it comes to being able to where do you go for it, is I think some of that's evolving, right? I mean, as we talk about scholarships opportunities, we also have a deck right now getting ready to go right in front of our enrollment folks, as well as our CFO, and saying, all right, here's the benchmarks. But it does take some of us taking the steps forward to be able to raise everyone else in this field, because it is so new. So while there are some smaller universities and maybe even some larger that have been able to move faster in this because of some red tape, I think it's the change is coming very soon with some other institutions, because we're having examples out there and data to support it, like Courtney's sharing from a number of different angles. So feel free to nudge all of us in many ways, because it's not because we don't want to deliver it, it's because we're probably delivering something else to move the needle.
I would also share there's a couple other resource sites too, particularly for high schools. All of the leagues that we've been talking about have university contacts. So like EGF is egf.gg, and you can see the full college listing with contact information. Another site, I'm going to post it here. Actually, I'm going to post the DePaul link specifically, so you can check out DePaul's page and then look at others too. There's a group called LFG, Looking for Group, that is a college program database that you can find more information about different programs around the country. LFG is one of them. There are a multitude of different programs, but a quick Google search and you can find a couple of those. But I would also, the other thing I think that's great about high schools, like if you find out one college, you'll get on the rabbit hole really quick, right? Like if you were interested in Butler and then you saw Butler streaming and you were like, let me do a search for Butler Esports. You're going to find very quickly about Big East Esports, which might eventually lead you to DePaul, right? Or vice versa. So there's, I think the other part of all of this is like a lot of colleges are still building it up. People are still also creating these centralized resources like LFG, but they definitely are starting to pop up a little bit further.
And I would encourage teachers, high school teachers and advisors of esports clubs to challenge the students. All right, we're going to do a project. Who can find a program and then report on it, public speaking, report on it, do a presentation, tell us about it. And that way, not only do they find the information, but they're sharing it. They're sharing it with other people in the club or organization. And don't be afraid to send an email. And it's really easy. Within the last 2 days, I've already received at least 5 or 10 emails from students in high school getting ready to graduate, and they're looking for an esports program. And we have graduate students, people in our MBA program, who chose William & Mary because of our esports program. One student, he was in between deciding on these two schools and chose William & Mary because we had esports. And you can be in esports as a grad student and be in our program too. Yeah.
I would share a fun quick story. Sorry. I'm going to cover this because his address is on it. I literally got this typed letter in the mail today. It's from Grayson. He's a 5th grader at Genoa Elementary School who wrote that it is his dream to become a gamer. And he literally wrote to us in the mail, which I just thought was so cute, asking us for information about how he could do that and go to DePaul as part of the class of 2033. So snail mail works too, people. I just thought it was cute. Sorry, Robert.
That is adorable. Oh my gosh. I just got goosebumps. That was so cute. So we have 4 minutes left. I can't believe this time has flown by so fast. I've enjoyed hearing all of your stories and information. I would love if I could give your email addresses to our attendees so that they have a contact person for if they want to go to your school or just more information. So that's number one. So thank you. We will do that. I will follow up with all of the amazing resources that you guys have been putting in the chat. So hopefully we'll save those and I'll get those out to our attendees as well. So let's leave our attendees with a final piece of, advice, words of wisdom, something. Go.
Put value in play in the social connections that it makes.
Yeah, I would just say, nobody's perfect at this, right? Like everybody's trying to figure it out. But, particularly, like, how many times in your life do you have an opportunity to take all of the knowledge and skill set and everything to help a new group of people? Like, that's exactly what we're doing with esports right now. Like, everything, even if you don't know gaming, you probably know something else, right? So like, you can take all of that knowledge and skill set and apply it to this. So don't be afraid of it. Andrew started off early on talking about a character from League of Legends. I have no idea who he's talking about, and I've been supporting our League of Legends team for 5 years. So you don't need to know every single detail of every single thing in order to support these students. So just don't be afraid by it. Like, dive in, get to know them. It's more important to know them than know the intricacies of their game. So yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and I would tell faculty, staff, admins, support these students. And students, follow your passion. And if it's not there, if what you're looking for is not there, create it. I've been told so many times, and I'm like, you misspelled yes, we'll figure it out. Well, if you're told no, find a creative solution. It's out there. It's out there. So don't give up. And because there are people out there who believe in you and what you're doing, and you're looking at us right now.
I would say create a collaborative, whether it's at your horizontal high school side of things or tying in with some of your universities locally or nationally, because this is sports without borders. So finding a way to be able to feed off of each other in a number of ways, because I know we've done that as a conference, but also with organizations and state institutions here in Indiana too. So
I would say, if possible, start esports clubs at the high school level. Just like there's sports, varsity or JV sports, just even have intramural, like sports between schools or between colleges if you have to. But getting that experience at a younger age is huge, and it gives them a taste of what college might be like for them in esports. So.
I got closing statement here, but I'll just say don't be afraid to reach out, especially from my perspective as a student. Everybody in the esports industry has been very friendly and enthusiastic about this space. So I would say don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
Those are great words of advice. Collaborative, support, reaching out. I found the same, exactly what you're talking about, Andrew, the same kind of feeling with the careers, with all the people who were representing different careers in our panel discussion, that where they're like, yeah, reach out. Like, you now know 6 people, so it is a supportive environment. And so I thank you for all those amazing words of wisdom. And again, I'll send a follow-up to all of our attendees with information from the chat and email addresses from all of our panelists. Thank you guys again for joining us today and all of these great resources. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great afternoon.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.